Hello, folks. We're back again, and today I've got something to talk to you about, Owen.
All right, lay it on me, Sean.
So, should you sleeve your board games?
Yes, you should sleeve your board games.
Do you sleeve every part of your board game?
Yes, you should sleeve every part of your board game possible.
If you're sleeving that much of your board games, are you looking for? Do you have a special, a particular brand that you go? You got to go cheap, I guess.
Okay,
For the sleeves, right? Or do you change the grade of your sleeves based on what you're going to put in there?
I do not because and to break the fourth wall here, but the reason why Sean is asking me about sleeves so much is because I do sleeve everything. I've always said this to Sean. I have somewhat of a compulsive issue with I think sleeving too much of my stuff. It's gotten slightly better over time. But I'm always afraid that I don't know why I'm thinking that my games are going to last eternity. I'm always afraid that my cardboard. I hate the look of like some rough, worn cards, and especially if anything's getting shuffled.
Yeah,
It's getting rubbed up quite a bit. So because of that, again, I'm looking for bang for your buck. I don't like the super thin sleeves. And so for that reason, and this isn't a promotional video by any means for Sleeve Kings, but I do tend to go for Sleeve Kings more than anything, pretty much primarily, unless I cannot get a certain size with them and I feel like I have to sleeve some, which again isn't as bad as it used to be. I'm a little more open to leave things unsleeved these days. I'm doing that with Primal because Primal's got some odd size cards in there that don't get shuffled, don't need to be sleeved, and so even though I'm like, as I'm pulling them in and out of that box, I'm like, they're rubbing on each other. They've got linen finish, so they're
gonna rub away.
They've got that linen interior, so they're really scratching against each other as they go, and I'm like, ah.
All right, so in this video, we're discussing to sleeve or not to sleeve, and that is the question. If there's one board game accessory that more people use than any other, like specialty thing, it's not game trays, inserts. It's not the wooden inserts. It's not even 3D printed inserts. It's sleeves. It's the most basic way to protect your game components.
Your investment.
And a lot. Okay. Do you get weird with shuffles and stuff too?
Oh, you mean like if
somebody ruffle shuffle?
Yeah, I mean that's just in general. Unless you're playing a cheap game, like some of those trick taking games, like I wouldn't mind seeing somebody do that with the Crew or some of those other trick taking games. They're so cheap.
Little $12 game you could easily get.
Somebody's playing Uno or whatever. Shuffle. And especially if it's poker cards. I mean, who cares?
But some people have no distinction between that one that's like an import from Italy that no one else has that that you can never ever buy in retail. You'll never see again. It wasn't even that popular on Kickstarter, but you love it. Mm-hmm. And now this person's over there going,
man.
I think I bent that one.
It's rare to see people do that in the hobby. The people that are in the hobby, but I do see it every now and then. I was playing with a fella that pulled him out. It still haunts me. Just opened his game up, the game that he was showing me, which I appreciated him showing it to me, and gets a brand new pack of the little mini with I think they're like European mini size cards,
little micro
big
cards,
stack of those, and Ruffle shuffles those, which granted you're going to bend the crap out of them just because they're so small. And I mean, like immediately while we're playing this game, all his cards are already bent up, and I'm like, it's not my game. I'll keep playing. But I just that's a big part of why sleeves are so handy is for shuffling. You don't need to do that.
They make shuffling really nice, and it keeps me from having to be that guy. You know who that guy is?
That guy.
Please, wash your hands before you handle this. Please. I notice your condensation is almost a foot away from that card, and it's making me really nervous.
Yeah. That is true. It does help a lot because, like, we usually are everybody's having some kind of a cold drink, like a soda or coffee or whatever.
And I'd still mention it, but I wouldn't do it with panic.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, and then and I'll even while I'm playing, I've got a lot of the times I have a big cold coffee sitting there with me too, and I'm watching it. I'm kind of doing the little roundabout, watching it drip around the table and wiping it as I go. But still, I've had times where I've tripped on my own stuff, and it's nice to just know that I've got that safe for that reason. I'm probably not as careful about it just because I keep everything sleeved, but
Well, it's what's funny is your reasons and your rationale for sleeving uh, it makes a lot of sense compared to my rationales for not sleeving some
yeah,
things. For instance, if it no longer fits in an insert that I like the rest of the insert, I'll just not sleeve it sometimes.
yeah,
Not often. In fact, I took all of Pest apart because I felt like I really wanted to shuffle those cards a lot, and I wanted to play it with other people, like outside of the household. That's another thing that will instantly get something sleeved.
yeah. And I've done some creative stuff sometimes when there is a nice insert where I'm just sticking cards in weird places. Like I think I did that with the Century. What's
Century Spice Road.
It's not Spice Road, right? It's something else. The Golem edition of
Golem,
Century,
yeah.
and their cards aren't really fitting right in there, and so I just have them kind of crammed. The box doesn't stay together as well as it did before, but for me, it's still worthwhile. I do have a 3D printer, so a lot of times I will chuck a good insert. But like Parks is a good example. They've got like a really nice insert, super nice insert that you don't want to throw away. I haven't really gotten that. I think I did sleeve those, but I don't remember what I did with the insert. I don't know. That's just one of those ones where I'd almost not sleeve it just because the insert's so nice. But then you have to be super careful with it the whole time.
Like, so as I scoot around off camera.
Yeah.
This isn't a great example because I'm not super. The insert for it isn't like something I'm like super excited about. But it's
functional.
But if you don't sleeve your cards, it works just fine. But if you do, if you were to sleeve these, you can count on at least 2/3 more, maybe double the size of the space required to keep a card.
Yeah.
And this game is all cards. Probably you won't be shuffling like these player aids, for example. They still get sleeved though because people have sticky ass fingers.
Yeah. Well. So I mean, so this is an insert that's like this is like a shipping insert. This is like they give this to you to make sure your cards aren't getting smacked around while it's coming to you, or the boxes are getting dented with the cards slamming up against them. But having somewhat tighter inserts, like where you maybe have this much space, like you do on the side here, that might be one reason why I would go with an otherwise lower quality sleeve. And by lower quality, I'm primarily just meaning thinner sleeve. Where like Sean's got some Mayday sleeves sitting out here, and Mayday, oddly enough, they actually own Sleeve Kings. I'm not really sure how that partnership works, but like Mayday, and you go buy stuff on Amazon. A lot of times you might buy Sleeve Kings, and it's being shipped to you from Mayday, or maybe vice versa. I don't know. I know on you can get things on Etsy and eBay sometimes from either one of them too, and Mayday's sleeves, I believe they're standard sleeves. I think they're 40 microns thick, which I don't really know exactly what that means other than relative, feeling the relative difference. I mean, it's microns of measurement, but they are significantly thinner in feel to the 60 micron thick standard Sleeve King sleeves. And there's plenty of other. I think 50 or 40 is the more common micron size for most sleeve companies. So again, Sleeve Kings, not only that, they also tend to give you like 10 extra sleeves per pack. You get 110 in a pack instead of 100 in a standard pack of them. So it's kind of a no-brainer for me. But with the Mayday sleeves being thinner, you can pack a lot more into a tight space. So if you are limited on space in an insert, they're great for that.
The sleeves come in all kinds of sizes. In fact, we've got a game that we've recently acquired because we both got it. Defrag by our friend Brandon McCool.
Mr. McCool. It sounds almost like his last name reminds me of like he's just the cool guy, Mr. McCool.
Mr. McCool over there designing games.
Cool man, yeah. He is a cool guy. We do like Brandon.
Well, if you're kind of new, they do have these little I think I got this on as for free, along with a big sleeve order from Mayday.
Yeah,
And
and I have the same thing from Sleeve Kings too. It's just these little.
Does it look exactly the same?
It's pretty much the same thing. They might,
but it's got the Sleeve King SKUs.
Yeah, and they might have some different sizes too. I'm not sure. I think for the most part, they both carry the same size sleeves. Like, I mean, as far as like width and height.
But with this, you can take weird sized cards like these square ones, and put them in there and determine the. They've got measurements for these. What are these, millimeters? Yeah.
Yeah.
These got the millimeters on the side here, and then you could kind of see which one matches the best, and then go find the product code.
Right.
It makes it really easy to order them and stuff. I have a little trouble sometimes, like really determining the actual size. If you go on Board Game Geek, now Board Game Geek now has this tab that usually has the card sizes. If they don't, you can enter in the card sizes to be someone's hero later on. But
yeah, and sometimes you'll get burned on those online things. Like I know SleeveYourGames.com is the one that I use most of the time for just a general idea. I usually don't order directly from what their suggestions are because I've seen plenty of times where they were a little off on their card sleeve sizes.
Oh, really?
And sometimes I'll go into forums like on Board Game Geek to get something a little more exact. But they're great if I already have, like I've got like a repertoire of extra card sizes at home now in a few different boxes. And so usually I have the size sleeves I need, and so sometimes I'll just go to SleeveYourGames.com just to get a quick reference, and then I'll go, okay, and then I'll go find them in my box real fast and pull them out. That way I don't have to get 2 or 3 packs. Most of the time, at this point, I can usually just look at a card and say, like, all right, like, that looks like a, American Standard, or that looks like, whatever, European Standard or Mini, or...
Do you have a bunch of extras now?
I do. I keep, like most of the time when I get new games in, I already have the sleeves I need for them, unless they're huge games, which a lot of times I'm getting prepared for that when there are, so...
Whenever that happens, I have all but 4.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's another 50-pack or another 100-pack of them.
And then I may have the 4 you need, too,
Yeah.
so just depending. I've used Sean at least once for some sleeves, and he's used me, too, to make up a little bit of difference. So it's good to have a friend in the game.
It takes a village to sleeve some board games.
Yeah, it does, especially when you've got like 2,100 cards like Primal's got on it.
Oh, yeah.
But granted, with a game like that, like I usually keep at least like a close to a 10-pack of standards and mini Europeans, because those are the most.
Let's say you want to sleeve The Witcher.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
here's my Witcher sleeve order.
Sean got in on an order with me for The Witcher, and so this is like 1,100 cards. Is that what it was?
Something like that. It's a lot.
Well, you got 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this is 1,100 sleeves. So, and that's, you'll need almost all of them for The Witcher. It's like crocheting. You just sit there and sleeve while you're watching something while you're watching Downton Abbey. And you sleeve
so you sleeved all of The Witcher, right?
Yes.
And you got it back in the insert?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So it does have room. You just got to rearrange or something?
Yeah, it's very doable. It's not overly tight in there or anything like that. And like I won't squeeze things so much that it's going to bend up the sleeves or make cards like identifiable, without when you're looking at the backs of them or something. But I don't know why anybody designs an insert these days that doesn't account for that. Doesn't account for sleeves. It drives me nuts, especially when somebody pays like a company to create that, because they think, like, I don't know, there's a lot of people that like to sleeve with premium sleeves, which are like 100 microns, or I think that's about as thick as they usually get. But those are like the pretty tough, like if somebody's big into Magic or whatever, and they got like the Dragon Shield sleeves and stuff like that. I think those are somewhere around that size range. And those are hard for anybody to fit in there, and I can understand if you're not making inserts to hold that. But there's so many of these inserts that come out, and there's literally no reason. There's nothing wrong with the size requirement. Like all they'd have to do is just extend those boxes open just a few extra millimeters.
I think
it drives me nuts.
Yeah, we're well past them not considering that someone will do it, no matter how ridiculous it is. Oh, these are all. You only take one of these cards out. You don't even shuffle them. It's just randomly given one to the person, and then the 7 others go back.
Yeah,
I'm sleeving them all.
And it's once these people are spending all this mental energy making a game, I think they know their card sizes. They send them in when the people are asking for these dimensions, and they're working like game trays or some other insert designer is making the trays for them, and then they've produced it. They've already spent the money with them to make this. They get the prototype, copy of it, and they're like, okay, this isn't going to fit sleeves, and well, we're just going to have to take it as it is because we can't spend, because they don't have that many, that much extra margin money or whatever you want to call it to be able to throw back in to get that fixed. Some companies, some big ones will go and fix things like that, but it's usually really expensive for them to do that. I know that was like a bit of an issue, like when we had Bantam West made this really nice insert. It even said on the insert that it was supposed to hold sleeve cards, and it didn't. So it didn't hold the ones that it was supposed to, at least part of them. And which again, that's their first time company. It was a great game, great people making the game. Nobody hated on too hard, but it was like kind of like, this is what we paid for, but we can't get it now.
Yeah.
And they're going to work to fix that. Whatever. I'm kind of going on a tangent about people making Kickstarter games in general.
Well, let's do this as a thought experiment. What's a reason? What's an argument not to sleeve cards?
If you're not going to shuffle it, there's really no need to have to do it. Like. Any kind of
there's the wear and tear aspect is fine.
I mean, there's no need, but like, if I could fit in the Primal box, because I'm going to fit my entire set of Primal. If you're not familiar with Primal, it's a really big game. The box is at least as much volume as Frosthaven, bigger, I would think. And closer probably to like the Eldraveil or whatever, the big collector set of that.
Dwellings of Eldraveil.
Or not Dwelling.
Everdell.
Everdell,
yeah.
I get those two mixed up so much. It's a really big box though, a lot of stuff in it, and if I could sleeve those little 60 by 60 sleeves or 60 by 60 cards and get them to fit in there, I would. But because it's so tight on space and fitting all those miniatures the way that I'm going to, I'm not going to do that. But like I said, they do kind of like, and I've noticed that and I'm getting it out of a custom insert that I made myself. I didn't design it, but I printed it. And that plastic that it's going in there, like I'm like, man, the cards, like there's so many in there, and I have to pull like a stack out sometimes to look through something, and it's kind of, the sides are rubbing up against these, like this kind of somewhat rough plastic and stuff, and so it's a little bit like I'm kind of worried that I'm rubbing the cards up a bit. I could see a reason I want to sleeve just for that reason, because for however your insert setup is, that you may be feeling like you're damaging your cards just moving them in and out.
But I'm looking for a reason not to sleeve them.
Yeah, but that's a great reason to not sleeve them at the same time, though, too, is just to get things to fit, and when it's not necessary.
Well, okay. Here's something I think, too. Because I was like, well, I want to sleeve all of it, but I don't because I can't afford it.
Right.
So,
or you can, but it's like
I could, but that's another game,
it's
right?
Like, yeah, that's another,
And this one's mostly dice. I don't even have to sleeve anything in that way.
Each one of those packs for The Witcher, even getting those on a sale, they were at least a couple bucks a piece. It was at least $2 or $2.50 a piece.
So you take some huge box set Witcher,
$25 to $30 or whatever you're spending just to throw sleeves on things.
It's like an insurance policy, I guess.
It kind of is, yeah.
It's like you maybe it was ridiculous to buy all those. Maybe somebody spills a Diet Coke across
That's great
across some cards and stuff, and then you're like, you don't have to freak out or anything.
It makes people really happy if you're trying to resell a game too, if it's sleeved. So there's that.
Oh yeah, you could probably ask for a little bit more.
I do a lot of times when I'm sleeving things. I'll just ask. I usually am never selling things for profit. It's usually always just to break even on something. So a lot of times I'll just add a few extra bucks or whatever for the sleeves.
Just try to turn it into a not expense anymore.
Right.
This
is kind of a good example, as Sean's bringing out Defrag, though, of another game that doesn't necessarily need to be sleeved, because you probably don't shuffle this very often. So it's like,
well, there's not very many cards.
Right.
I think the deck of this would be like 18 cards.
But it feels nice to have them in sleeves.
Oh, it feels so much like it makes them sturdier.
Mm-hmm.
Like it takes a real thin cardboard and makes it like really sturdy. I like that.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing that kind of sucks about having sleeve cards is if you do videos like we do, and you've got light shining all over the place, it does put a glare on the. Uh,
It adds a
but
dimension to your lighting scenarios.
yeah, so that's
If everything looks real dramatic and like it's only lit from one
yeah.
direction, that's why.
And if we're gonna keep going on reasons why not to sleeve, a lot of people do really like the feeling of sleeves. I mean, of cards and the premium cards in particular. Like some cards, I mean they're so crappy and like there's these, I don't know what the printing that they do on some of these cards are like there's no core to them or anything. They're just like this really flat. Looks like something. It feels like something that's just stamped out of a big sheet really quick. Um, and they like Sean was saying, they make the cards feel a lot better. Like, I mean, these are fine. I've had worse cards than these, but these are pretty basic too. These cards
Oh
aren't
yeah.
really so much about feeling the cards, but some of them that I've had, they either have that linen finish on them, it gives them a little bit, but some of them have actual like linen kind of
Like
material and mixed into
Wingspan.
it. Yeah,
They do that, right?
Wingspan has really nice ones, or you have some cards are just like particularly thick. They got this like there's these cores that they put in them that are thicker too, and so it's so some people just really like the feeling of actually touching the cards. It's nice and all, but again, it just makes especially if you got a game that you got to shuffle multiple times during the game, it's a pain to deal with.
You know what's weird is what I never considered too is it's kind of like another bonus for a chip theory game. Their cards are all made of this PVC material that's completely waterproof and pretty tough. So you don't have to sleeve them at all unless there's not a lot of shuffling, I don't think, in a lot of their games so far anyway.
Yeah, yeah. So there's that. It just
But like that's like a big coupon almost for one for one of these things.
yeah, but even this little bit, it's just it makes it so it's different qualities of sleeves. Some sleeves are more sticky, some are more kind of slippery. The slippery ones will slide into themselves really easily, when you're going to shuffle. But if you have a big stack, sometimes they'll just shoot across the table because they'll kind of fly off themselves.
Oh yeah.
So you get I've had some really kind of cheaper sleeves that are more tacky. The plastic kind of sticks to itself a little bit better. So they're great for like those big stacks of cards. But in general, most people are gonna tend to pick some kind of brand that they like a lot, and they're gonna keep buying them. Sean gets these ones that are really nice. I don't know what the brand is, but they've got like a frosted kind of textured feel to them. They're some of the
They're from Amazon. They're Dragon Shield.
oh, they are
ones.
Dragon Shield. Those
Yeah.
ones that you get. Okay.
So the only thing I used to sleeve before I met you,
Yeah.
the only thing I used to sleeve was I sleeved all of Hellboy, which is kind of a lot of cards, very expensive. But those Dragon Shield ones are not cheap either.
No, that's that's a level.
But mostly unmatched. So I have all these unmatched sets.
yeah.
We've talked about it before, and all of them are just a deck of cards basically in a miniature. And so, and you do shuffle those like every single time, a couple of times you play it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, you shuffle them one good time, right?
right,
Because then
we
you
want
run
to get
your
to
deck,
yeah. Every time you play it, you're going to shuffle them and stuff.
But that's the kind of game that you might play multiple rounds in one sitting too. So
Right.
And I mean, sometimes you just want to kind of go all out a little bit with the game, and that game seems to accommodate those nice super premium sleeves really well too in the inserts.
That's a great example of an insert that's made. You look at your deck of cards in there, it's like, wow, it's really deep in there. It's like, boy, they left all that extra room, and almost if you don't sleeve it, then they're flopping around everywhere.
Yeah.
But I sleeve it. Another thing that's good positive with the sleeves is if you use rubber bands or elastic bands or anything like that. If you buy the wrong ones, which I don't do,
Yeah.
you can buy you can buy elastic bands that don't degrade.
Yeah. Well, they don't have. That's Sean's bag. He's the one that gets the premium rubber bands.
Anyway, so you can get these rubber bands that don't degrade, but if you don't, like if you got to put in a regular rubber band, and for some reason you put that game on the shelf and it doesn't come out for a year or two, and that thing rots away, it won't destroy the card that was in. You just pull it out of that sleeve and put another sleeve on it, and it's just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you'll see sleeves saying that they're like acid free and all this stuff. I don't know. There must have been some time in the past when people were sleeving baseball cards or something where they had some kind of sleeves that would kind of tear up the cards after a while. But I don't think any sleeves. I've never heard of.
I know from
any
comic
normal
books.
sleeves. Yeah.
So comic books, we used to sleeve those also,
Yeah, yeah.
and that was a big debate back when I was a kid. It's like, oh wow, you put them on all those little diapers and stuff. Yeah, but you know, it kept them like when you pull them in and out. It made it, you know, it didn't. It kept them nice.
Right.
And then you put a cardboard in there, and they're eating. They don't get all bent up. So that's what you do with your really good ones, your favorite ones, right? Mm-hmm. Well, and everything else just gets a sleeve. Well, they used to sell them that had acid in there, or the plastic had sort of an acid content, and what it does is every time it turns it yellow.
Uh-huh.
So if you see something that was otherwise well taken care of, but it's yellowed and faded and stuff, it's because of the seeping through. So even back in the day when I was buying comic books as a little kid, and that was a while ago, even back then they had acid-free, you know, sleeves.
I can't imagine anybody having something that would have something degrading at this point, at this day and age.
Yeah, I know.
With these, so I don't think that's a worry anymore. At least for any reputable. I mean, maybe if you're getting some weird, like, you know, generic brand from China or something that's got some, I don't know. I even use the like the Defia sleeves that they tend to sell for Gloomhaven, where you get like a whole pack. It's like 1,000 standards and 1,000 mini Europeans for like 20. It's like $20, $22. It's a really good deal. The sleeves kind of suck, but they're not terrible. They will work. I mean, especially if you're not wanting to just spend a ton of money to sleeve a game. And those are the kind of those little bit more sticky sleeves and stuff too, where they stack easier. But you know, I don't think I haven't seen any. I don't know how long it takes, but I haven't seen any kind of degrading on those. And I think those were even advertised as being, you know, also acid free. But who's putting acid in their plastic is what I want to know.
What are you doing tonight? Just hanging out.
Yeah. All these hippies making plastic sleeves.
I'm licking sleeves and frying banana peels.
Yeah.
We want to know what you do. What's your opinion on that? Like, sleeve everything, sleeve the really important and favorite things, sleeve only the stuff you shuffle. Mm-hmm. Like, do you ever sleeve half of your box? Do you like leave all the player aids like without sleeves on them, but sleeve all the actual? I tend to like if I sleeve any part of it, it's all getting sleeved.
Do you ever sleeve the cardboard pieces? I've seen people sleeve their cardboard Spirit Island. They sell sleeves for the cardboard player boards.
Oh, all the individual players, the little player things?
I've seen people do that. Yeah, that's just one step above what I'm willing to do in a game is start sleeving the actual thick, you know, cardboard boards and stuff like that. But yeah.
Gotta keep it safe.
Gotta wrap it up. Keep it safe.
Undercover.
Keep it protected.
Wrapped
up.
Folks, that's all we got for you today. We'll be back soon with more board game musings. Until next time, enjoy your games. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.